Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
I would say happy Tuesday, but I have been thoroughly fucking annoyed today by all kinds of issues. So I'll just say, welcome to No Topic Tuesday. I'm your host. A little bit earlier than usual for No Topic Tuesday, but I was in the area and I was dealing with a lot of stuff that were all day things here at the center. So I decided to go ahead and do this now. I almost did, like I said, I was annoyed to the point with other things that I was really not going to do a show today. But here I am. I had a mic, I got a camera, I got a computer, and I got an environment. So here I am. And this show is pretty the easiest show of the week, simply because it's up to you guys to ask me or Brad questions as far as what you want to talk about. Like I said, I usually put a bar on anything that might piss me off, but like I said, I'm already aggravated today. We won't go into that because that situation is evolving. Let me just say hi to the chat. There's not too much people in here today. Hello, Duckman. Dan, what's going on? Just finished Dr. Octopus. It's the shirt that's causing fear. Yeah, this is actually a variant of a Sci-Fi Center shirt. This is one of the ones we made that had all the businesses of the plaza in it, and it's Nosferatu, so it was something I could freely distribute. I wear it every now and then. What's going on? Oh, wow, were you camping?
No, it's out in the living room.
Oh, it's like the background's different. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you want to talk about this merger?
I mean, the only thing that happened is that they raised their bid to $31. It sounds like even with that acknowledgement that the board is still going to recommend that the Netflix sell, because even at $31 a share, they still didn't address the fact that a lot of their money is leverage. It's coming through. It's not an all cash deal. You know, their money is being brought in from other places. Yeah. So, and plus, I think that I really do think Netflix may match that deal. Either match that deal, or the investors can still outright. I heard, well, it's a superior deal, but I'm like, it's just a larger number based on the same factors you guys just rejected them for the previous 10 times.
Right. And well, then there's also, I mean, I was thinking all day seeing this news. Okay, Ellison, if you could this entire time make a larger bid, why didn't you do that before you humiliated yourself with this bitchy letter and all that other shit?
Because I don't think he could. I don't think he could. And to be honest with you, I don't think this is a good. I'm not quite sure where Paramount's footing is financially to do this, be honest with you. I know they're getting a lot of money from a lot of different sources, but all it takes is one of those sources to go south or go bad, and their deal could collapse upon that, and that was the main concern. And where you're going to spend all these resources? Why don't you spend that on making Paramount a top film studio? They're worried about the monopoly, but um, if you put yourself in such a precarious financial situation, and they've already announced that immediately upon, they're already announcing an elimination of jobs even prior to this merger talk. So you're talking about like 6,000 jobs, and plus that's the minimum. If you were to merge with a company, you're going to have redundancy. So you're putting the fear into people about a monopoly, but at the same time, you're going to be firing people and causing massive job loss, and you yourself are playing into sort of a monopoly. I think Netflix has done the due diligence to prove that what they're doing is not a monopoly, but I don't see. I can't believe that they didn't expect this, though. I can't believe that they didn't.
Yeah, well,
I think that Netflix has a number that they'll stop at, but I don't think it's $31 this year. I could be wrong.
Well, every company does have a number that it's why they call it best to final offer when you make your best to final offer. I mean, again, just the other side of this with the Paramount Netflix, with it is just the path that that we've gotten to at this point, like everything Paramount. Again, the mudslinging, I think it's fair to call with when they first got outbid by Netflix. It's like, I mean, how is that not lost on Warner Brothers at this point?
Well, some people are just outright trying to cash out. But there's another thing that I didn't see addressed, and this is probably why Sarandos and company feel confident, and Warner Brothers board is still going to advise them to take the Netflix deal, is the fact that even at $31 a share, that doesn't make up for the value of what they could make off the linear networks, because Paramount Skydance is trying to purchase a whole company at that rate. Whereas, if you're talking about the outright cash offer that Netflix is offering you, you can then turn around and sell those spinoffs for more than the valuation that Paramount wants to realize. So I'm wondering what else, and plus they'll pay you back the whatever $5 billion of the breakup fee. That's just dumb. But I see Paramount stretching themselves really thin to try to make this happen. And if Netflix counter, I think that well, first of all, I thought this was over at the cash bid, and I still think that's going to be a heavy consideration.
Well, Sarandos the other day, he was interviewed for something, and he was asked, what's your opinion on like Paramount still pursuing Warner Brothers, and he said pretty much what we said on here. It's like, make a better offer. I mean, it's hard to make, but how do you make it any clearer than this? Again, what I was saying a minute ago about like you write this letter, you launch lawsuits, you do this, you do that. Make a better offer.
Yeah, and that's what they could have done, but I don't even know if they were being allowed. I think there were certain people within Warner or Paramount that said, dude, how far are we willing to go? Now, even Sarandos himself said that, there's a limit that we'll walk away, and because we have a history of not overpaying for things, but I don't know what that limit is. And they had to expect that Paramount was going to come back with this offer. So if they're not out, they have 4 days to respond to this, to whatever offer that Paramount's put on. So they're going to either do one of two things. They're either going to walk away, or they're going to put a dagger offer in there that ends all of this there and then it's on to the regulator for them.
I mean, without like knowing like either companies, having their financial books, like where do you think like the ceiling of either of their offers is?
I still think the Paramount one is the weaker offer because it is contingent upon non-cash assets. It's leverage. It's all kinds of value, things that are not that can fall apart. That's why the deal was held up to begin with. Two, I think it's a weaker offer because of the fact that I think Paramount is devaluing what networks like TNT, CNN, TBS can do. Now, when you're talking about ad revenue and things that those can bring in, both of those networks have March Madness. Both of those networks have playoff games, and Major League playoff games. Even though they gave up the NBA, they still have some NBA games. They have some NBA playoff games. Like I said, March Madness. You also have, have wrestling. You have all kinds of things on there that, and you have legacy syndication rights for a lot of shows people watch. So if Netflix is offering you what they're offering you and still allowing you to turn that other part of your company into cash, then I don't see how that offers much better unless you're assuming that the whatever billions that that $31 per share makes up covers that. And mathematically, I just don't think it does. I think if you get it valued somewhere at more than what that total offer is, you're trying to get the most money possible. And I think you may be leaving money on the table if you don't account for what those linear networks can sell for. So I still think that Netflix offers a better offer. I think they can make the monopoly case. I don't think can be made for either one of them, to be honest with you. But I do think that the redundancy case with thousands of jobs being permanently lost right now. Remember, just as what Paramount is, they're already talking about laying people off. So now you're going to inherit an entire company that already has a double infrastructure. Things
which is why when either one, but I think even more so Paramount, when they say it's like,
no, not at all. Netflix doesn't have a distribution. Netflix doesn't have a studio in that regard.
When they talk about like when the headlines for this comes out, says we're gonna do this merger, but we're gonna keep the core team in place. It's like that's just a lot of hot air. Particularly,
well, even Paramount isn't openly admitted that they're not. Exactly. Which to me, whereas Netflix doesn't. If Netflix said we're going to keep the infrastructure in place, you can believe them because they're a complementary business. They don't have the things that would overlap. They need those things, whereas Paramount would not need those things. They would fire those people.
That doesn't mean like there's no layoffs at all if a Netflix merger, if that's the one that goes through. But
very minimal, because they have nothing.
It's not the bloodbath that Paramount would be. Yeah.
Because you don't have any positions that Netflix currently has that Warner Brothers has. You don't have any, so you could figuratively not have to worry about that. Where at Paramount, it's going to be you have the same overlapping type of staff, studio staff, all kinds of things that are, because Netflix, the type of movies that they make are not what they're purchasing Warner Brothers for. Paramount is the same type of studios that Warner Brothers Discovery is. So you're going to have a clash there, and a lot of people are going to lose their job, and you're going to lose. See, and here's another thing, and this is when it kind of annoyed me when James Cameron went on there doing whatever the hell he was doing. It
wasn't his.
Was if you're a champion of the theaters and you're a champion of the workplace, you're making less. You're creating less jobs. You're actually axing thousands of jobs, and you're eliminating a platform, and you're eliminating a distributor, because Paramount is already the distributor. So we have one less distributor. So
correct me if I'm wrong here. Didn't they also say they would actually keep both HBO Max and Netflix like proper in place?
Yeah, because it makes financial sense for them to do so. But there's a lot of people that put up a lot of flares and a lot of bullshit and a lot of sky is falling garbage. If they just analyze the situation, you'll see none of that really makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense for Netflix to cannibalize what they would do with Warner Bros. Discovery, because that's a pipeline of prestige that leads directly back to their wallet. Whereas Paramount, you would have to, because after that acquisition, you wouldn't be able to afford to have more people in a job than you could afford to pay. So yeah, I mean, I still at the end of the day, if I had, like I said, I'm not a betting man because I'm too cheap. But if I had to make that type of bet, I'm still betting on Netflix. To get that.
Ironically, the Vegas resident saying I'm not a betting man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do that shit for tourists, and so. But yeah, I'm not. I mean, I just want this to be over because it's been a drain.
Well, it's like the vote is supposed to happen, like next week,
next month,
okay, like early.
With Paramount, like I said, Paramount. They gave Paramount an extra week to come up with this, and now Netflix has 4 days, depending on when the offer is. The offer was presented to make a counter offer, which I think they're gonna do.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is like if because I'm just I'm really kind of with what everything he's done prior to this that's culminated in this new bid on Paramount's part. If it does end up like ultimately being Netflix that that Warner Brothers goes with, I mean, Ellison, that meltdown, that temper tantrum is going to be so. Oh man, but what we already seen him do, and then like in the aftermath of like if it's definitive, like no, it's not Paramount getting Warner Brothers Netflix. I mean, that's just gonna. It's like he's clearly shown he's not a guy who takes being told no very well.
Well, what they should do and what they'll probably do will focus on buying the linear networks, which is what I think they would end up doing because they want those. They want the whole company, but they don't want to pay what you could get on the open market for the linear networks. It's just, and if I'm a stockholder, I'm cashing out, then I want the highest value I can get for all the property I have. So yeah, I still, certain people who've been posting, certain outlets have been posting that it's a superior offer. I don't know what they're necessarily considering, but if I'm Netflix and I really want this is where you're going to find out. Netflix can outbid them. I never thought that was the case. It's do they want to? Because just because you can do something doesn't mean. Right now, Paramount is grossly overpaying for Warner Brothers. They are grossly overpaying. They're doing the same thing that Disney did when Universal drove up the price for Fox.
And they got Fox in the end, so yeah.
They got Fox in the end, but it really hurt.
You notice
Paramount is not Disney.
You notice also that there's one party who's completely gone radio silent in all of this, which is Comcast / Universal, which they like once Netflix kind of became the front runner. You notice how Comcast kind of just receded into the. We haven't they've. I don't think they formally like bowed out of it, but I mean they
were never really in. They were never really in.
They were just fucking around with them and saying, yeah, we'll just drive up the price as much as we can.
Yeah, that's all that really was. But like if Netflix really wants it, they'll get it. But it's now the question that no one really knows because I'm not in their offices is how bad does Netflix really want? That's really what this all comes down to.
Well, because I know I've seen articles about this. I'm gonna see if I can find one of these where it kind of lays out where it says, okay, they've got a Paramount to put together a compelling offer, but it seems like the board is still leaning or is being recommended by the shareholders, is still being recommended by the board, the directors that stick with Netflix. Let me see if I can find that article. You go ahead and read it. Actually,
that was right up. Variety put that in. Bloomberg put that out.
Before we get to that though, we have a birthday in the house. Good day, William, Brad. Everyone in the chat today is my birthday here in Australia. Everybody, my sis.
Happy birthday. That is not his sister. It's the only post that Brad brings up, by the way, is Aaron's. But happy birthday, Aaron. There's no relation here. Happy birthday. I was going to bring that up, but happy birthday, Aaron.
Maybe let me pull up this article. Warner Brothers merger.
Still don't look a day over 15. Let's see.
Thank you.
No, not you.
No, you don't, Aaron. You really don't. It's like it really is hard to believe we're only separated by almost exactly a year. Which again, we don't need a paternity test. We don't need a DNA test.
No, that is Max Schreck. Who is on my shirt? The great Nosferatu.
And by the way, apparently also like after this news today, Ellison, he like went right to the State of the Union, which that's another side of this where it's like, I mean, the whole reason, without getting like our opinions of like the current administration, I mean, the whole reason why like Rush Hour 4 was greenlit was it was a carrot to like somebody in power to say, hey, we'll greenlight this for because you want to see it, that you'll help us. Like,
by the way, he's setting himself up. Both if the administration unlawfully interferes in this outside of precedent, they're setting themselves up for major lawsuits. And remember, the administration doesn't necessarily control the federal courts that will not look fondly on this, because you would have to make the same case against precedent, and you'd have to make the same case against Paramount, and you can make an identical case. So if you side with one and there's no legal reasons, there's no true monopoly, they're setting themselves up for a massive lawsuit that they'll lose. They'll lose that lawsuit. So him putting his thumb on the scale, it looks bad and it's evidence. If Netflix ever wanted to say, you know what, I think there's some chicanery going on here, then it's on TV. It's in the letter. It's in all these kinds of things. You implied that you had an advantage where you should not have had one. And if the administration acts in a way that poses an advantage, that's a lawsuit. So yeah. I really think it's going to be a bunch of bluster when it comes down to it. I think whoever the board decides on is going to make it through the regulatory process. Let's see.
Okay. Article. Yeah, I sent you another one the other day. Where I asked your thoughts on it, where the headline was like Justice Department begins investigation into before this latest bit came up. Like Justice Department begins the investigation into Netflix Warner Brothers merger, and you told me standard
shit
merger stuff, and I said, yeah, I agree. It's just that the headline of that just makes it sound.
Well, headlines are for stupid.
The phrasing
people.
of that just makes it sound like
headlines are for stupid. Headlines are for stupid people that don't read.
Speaking as somebody who's kind of in this world, the headline of that, the phrasing. I don't know if they did that necessarily for SEO purposes or just that's the angle that the particular writer was coming at it from in terms of like their.
Oh no, it's just a fact. It's a fact.
Well, but the phrase, when you phrase it like they're investigating, that makes it sound like a criminal case.
Well, if you don't know what you're reading, if you don't know what you're reading,
counting that
because
counting on their reader is not an expert in mergers and acquisitions.
Well, then you shouldn't be reading about mergers and acquisitions. You don't know what you don't know, because if Paramount had the leading bid, see, they entered an agreement with Warner Brothers Discovery. So this is a process that would have happened if it had been Paramount entering into the agreement and they were in that voting area period. Then it would be Paramount. All you'd have to do is replace the Netflix portion of it with Paramount. This is once you enter the agreement. And Netflix right now, Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery are in an agreement. That process starts. That is the beginning of the regulatory process. So had it been Paramount, it would have been the same thing. It's just that we have a lot of people who don't comprehend this stuff beyond the headline, that it doesn't matter what the headline does. I mean, you got to be, the headline, if you read the headline and you don't read the article or you don't understand the process, then I can't, that's on them. But no, I saw this, and it's standard stuff. It's standard stuff. Had Paramount been in the lead,
Well, let me go ahead and read this again. This is all about today. Like shocker, Paramount says Paramount's sweeter offer might lead to better deal than Netflix will continue talks with the Davis Company, and I'm gonna get to the portion of it I was referring to earlier. Well, here, let me go and read this part here. Paramount WBD earlier today both confirmed their revised offer without details. Par was expected to bump the price up from $30, but it wasn't clear how much higher WBD would go. The additional $1 share increase was sufficient to get the ball rolling in conjunction with attention to other concerns Warner has raised. WBD has clarified that its board has not made a determination as to whether the revised Paramount guidance proposal is that superior to the merger with Netflix. But the idea that it potentially could be that allows WBD's guidance to determine if they come to an agreement. If or when the board ultimately determines it has such a superior proposal in hand for Paramount, Netflix will have 4 business days to negotiate with WBD and proposing revisions to its own transaction. Then, here. This is the part I was talking about earlier. There can be no assurance that the board will conclude that the transaction proposed by Paramount Skydance is superior to the merger with Netflix, or that any definitive agreement or transaction will result from WBD's discussions with Paramount Skydance, the board said. Meanwhile, the Netflix deal remains in effect. The board, quote, continues to recommend in favor of the Netflix transaction and is not withdrawing or modifying its recommendation. So,
and they've seen all this. They saw it first. The board saw it first. Go ahead, because there's a delay. Apparently, yeah. The board saw all of
I'm
this.
good.
Okay, the board saw all this and then basically handed it down to the stockholders. And remember, it was 93% for the Netflix deal, and you had some outliers, but not enough to overcome 93%. So far, the majority of their board and their shareholders have not ventured off the path that the board members, the head of the boards, have told them to go on. So far, they've gone with their recommendation. They've seen this offer, so I think we're nearing the tipping point of who wants this more. And if it's Netflix, it's not going to be it's going to be another offer, and it'll be an offer that puts it out of range, because I think all involved are tired of this.
Yeah, well, I think you can see, like, it was a video interview. It was on camera interview that Sarandos gave that I was talking about earlier, where he again said what we said. It's like, Paramount, like, okay, you want this, make a better offer. Don't write letters. Don't whine about this in the media. That you got outbid and you're unhappy about it. If you want it, make a better offer. If you can't, he told them straight up, put up or shut up.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think Ted Sarandos or David Zaslav was rolling out of their bed in shock that they probably got people inside. They probably are tracking it from the whole time. So it's to the point now where they're probably not surprised. It's now, how much do we want? Do we want to go 82? Do we want to go 80? Do we want to just shut this shit down at $84 a share and just get rid of you? Or do we want to walk away from it?
But Netflix, I mean, do they have the capital to go that high?
Yes.
$84 a share?
Yes. No. Not $84 a share, but $34 a share. And
yeah,
they have the means to do a knockout offer. It's just that both sides have decided what they want to pay, and we just don't know what the limitations are when it comes to Netflix. Because Netflix could do it, but they also have their stand. They say, hey, you know what we can do, what we want to do, maybe two different things, but we'll find out what. So now we got 4 more days of this. So,
by the way, speaking of finding things out, Clint says he just found out that we're on 31 minutes into the show.
Yeah, we've been having issues with StreamYard and YouTube and errors.
If this is like, I bet this is like more like AI. Me and William would look like.
For somebody who's kind of annoyed with AI, you guys are sure sending me a crap ton. I have a feeling Netflix will lose, but whenever they are ready to end this merger, we'll still be waiting. Like I said, it's not up to Paramount whether Netflix loses. It's up to Netflix to whether if Netflix wants the company, I believe that Netflix will get the company.
But again,
they want it.
And that's where I ask is, like, if they come out on top on this, like, I'm just waiting for that, like, Ellison meltdown, because I mean, we've talked. It's. Yeah, I think we both kind of express like our estimation of the dude as a corporate leader, as an executive, on some level, even as just an adult. Is, I mean, the dude, the way he's conducted himself, he's been a whiny little bitch about all this. His response to getting outbid by Netflix, he's handled it like a whiny little bitch.
Well, it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional by somebody who really hasn't had to apply for a job.
Yeah,
because that's basically when you, how many people you see that have come up through the system and had to have their job reliant on how they conduct themselves and what kind of ties you make and what kind of bridges you burn. Most people wouldn't be able to do this because they wouldn't be able to come back in a situation, but because he has, I'm sorry to say it, but he has his position because of Larry Ellison, not because he was some. And I'm not saying that David Ellison is bereft of talent. I'm saying that if it was David Powell or David, the guy, with an associate's degree working on all these things, would he be able to do some of the things he does? Because there would be no safety net. Even people who are CEOs, when you behave a certain way, people stop picking up the phone when you call. So, and now he has a situation to where he hasn't met any resistance because who's going to resist Larry Ellison? But now you have a company that can. You have a company that can outbund you. So, I don't know. But like I said, we're going to find out here in the next couple of days. I think that like I said, if I had to bet, I don't see the increased or the decreased risk value that stopped them from doing this before. Where is Ellerson's money coming from? Who is providing it?
When the amount that Paramount increased their bid by. I mean, that's not. I think we'd agree. It's not something that's insurmountable by Netflix.
No. Like I said, it's if Netflix wants the company, they can make a knockout bid. I think if they want the company.
Yeah, Aaron, we brought this up a minute ago. That Cameron. The reason Cameron did that is because he's. There's obviously been as a byproduct of the merger has been a lot of talk about like what this means for theaters, and there's a lot of people who are
apparently he wasn't paying attention to that.
Well,
what he said was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken about on here many times about Cameron. Love him, one of my all-time favorite filmmakers. But definitely, I think we definitely part ways on this.
Yeah, that is, being an all-time great producer, director, movie maker is not a license to spread that type of. He blatantly spread things that were not either not provable or outright not true. And I don't think that's fair because that's a pretty heavy name that you're throwing your weight around there, and with that type of it was misinformation. So I thought he was out of line there. So yeah, when it comes to this merger, I'm really ready for it to be over. I'm ready for the aftermath to be over. I'm ready for the regulation process to be over. And I'm ready for it to not to be news anymore because, to be honest with you, it's gotten...
What's still going to be news, like once they picked like who they're going to go with, but then it's just going to be news in like a more kind of boring, okay, we're like...
Yeah, it's going to be routine. It'll be routine and not this nonsense.
It's irrational. It's basically like a thing where it's like, oh, now AI, you can like make like an AI video where like you turn one famous person into another. Again, the thing that makes these AI things have been floating around social media. Again, the way the way they just don't fly by me, or I don't not know they're AIs. It's just and AI hasn't gotten past this. I don't know that this is something that it can get past because of just the automated, for lack of a better word, robotic nature of it. It's always too clean. It's always too pristine. It's too refined. It's too, it does a great job of approximating, human movement and human, a facsimile of it, but it always does it in a way. It's too perfect. It's too good at what it does, and that makes it easy to spot in my book. So yeah, all these AI things. It's like I whenever I see them, it's like I know that's AI because it's too. There's as with anything in your real life, there's a certain kind of messiness and and dirt, I guess is what I'm looking for. That it just makes it. You could tell like the difference between like real and artifice. Like AI just hasn't and again I don't know if it can like really get over that. So
sorry guys, when it comes to me, there's no topic that bores me more than AI. I know it's necessary. I know it's an integral part of the future. That doesn't make it an exciting topic. I literally was thinking about AstroTurf Grow. Whenever I hear those two letters, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I will have to eventually, but right now where AI is, it's more of an annoyance than it is something I care about. Obviously, it's going to become more of an annoyance when it becomes collective bargaining issues and legal issues and strike issues. But I don't have to. I can turn my head and look somewhere else as far as that goes. I will wait for the dust for the lawsuits to settle before I make my opinion about it.
We've said it here before. It's like it's a good AI. It's like it has its utility. It's a tool. It has its function. It's one of those things. Right now, we're still kind of in the purgatory of like we're still we're still like finding our groove about like what that role and what that functionality of it is going to be, and give it 5 years to a decade. That's probably the amount of time it's going to take to really kind of for it to level off and like, okay, this is what AI is going to do in filmmaking, what it's going to do in the tech world, what it's going to do in just like day-to-day life. But right now it's like it's coming at us so fast. It's like everybody's getting pretty doom and gloom on it because it's something so new, and it's something so that's proceeding at such a pace that it's like we don't know where this is going to go. Yeah, we don't know where this is going to go because we're still figuring out how we're going to use it. So,
and I legit, and I'm not saying this to be flippant, I don't care. Just like any other tool that's been introduced in anything, we'll figure it out. Greed will figure it out. Greed, individual greed amongst us people, corporate greed, possessiveness, all those things will do all the bloodletting for me. And at that point, if I'm searching through YouTube videos and stuff, like when I watch documentaries or watch anything like that, if I see a discussion about AI and it's not the Beavis and Butthead one happening from Saturday Night Live, I don't watch that. I don't care. I don't care right now. There will come a time when I do. But right now, with the topics that, on a science fiction, horror, and fantasy type show, AI, and, it's just not,
it's always, I mean, you mentioned, like sci-fi. I mean, it's like, it's always been like a fixture of like sci-fi.
It's theoretical sci-fi. And
now it's going to be, give it, again, it's going to become like a, not a theory. It's going to be like, here's a real world thing that we're implementing into sci-fi. That's what it's going to transition to. But it's, I mean, what that is, what AI is going to do, what role it's going to play in the future, and all these different facets. I mean, that's above my pay grade.
It's not even a pay grade I want to.
We joke around the show. It's plenty. It's like, yeah. I'm not a tech guy by any means, but we've seen developments like this. I mentioned the other night, we were talking about specifically, like we're talking about with the filmmaking. We've seen these kinds of things happen, like when color came around, when sound came around, when visual effects, when all these developments happen.
Yeah, all kinds of things.
It's or like when like TV comes around with VHS and DVD. All these things come around, and there's consternation around it because it's like it's a revolutionary like leap forward, and everybody immediately kind of like leaps to the conclusion like this is going to kill this aspect of it, and it's like that's not the case. It's just that it's it takes,
like I said,
it's taking time for things to like carve out their niche within it.
From the Sci-Fi Center point of view, there's plenty of other channels that are talking about it and that are at a level of progression of talking about it. When it's time for me to watch those, I will. But like I said, right now it's just not something I feel like doesn't really intrigue me at this point. What did James Cameron say that was false? He made references to the theatrical windows and a lot of elements. I brought it up the other day, and these are things that, like I said, that were just outright either over exaggerated or not true. I have as much reason to go for that as I do what Ted Sarandos said under oath. And when I said don't follow emotions when it comes to this stuff, follow the money. Greed doesn't lie to you. It might not tell you the truth you want to hear, but listen to greed before you listen to the sky is falling, people. Hello, how are you doing? $3 Theater. Okay, let's see. I'm going to skip all.
It's funny. I just had a little bit last week. It was actually why I was on the show Wednesday night. I had a little bit of I had kind of a meeting that was kind of work related. It was just about to. I'm not going to go too much in like specifics, but it was somewhat of a work related thing, and the topic of AI came up and all this, which is interesting because it's not really like directly pertinent to what we were getting at or what I do in my day-to-day life, but and I said a lot of the same things in that, and I was saying tonight, it's like AI, again, it's a tool, it has its function, it has its place. We're still figuring out what that is, and it's it's easy to get hyperbolic about the topic now because we're still figuring that out. We're still figuring out the nuts and bolts of it, and it's it's easy for a lot of people to jump in with an opinion on this with when we don't have all the facts on it. Even a lot of the people who are experts on this don't have all the facts or all the understanding of the facts of it yet. So it's again, we just need to give this like a period of like about 5 years to a decade before we really kind of see like what role it's going to play in this corner, in all these different facets of day-to-day life.
I'm already starting to fall asleep, and I'm sitting up.
I'm furious. Talk about kung fu movies. We'll talk about
AI is a very listen. I don't dispute for whoever wants to bring it up in a conversation. And it's a very interesting topic. I'm not saying that it's a meaningless topic. To me, I see it as an evolving tool, but not something that I would make a topic out on this show. There will, that may be unavoidable sooner than later, but right now, as I sit here on 224, I just have chosen the option. It's just not something that really intrigues me right now. Now it's going to cause all kinds of strife. It's going to cause, strife, and then we'll have to talk about it in an unfortunate way. But as far as anything else, it's like any other advancement that we're going to have to deal with. That for me doesn't have to be something I'm going to dedicate any meaningful time in my show. When there are thousands, maybe millions of other people who have made that their stock and trade that have more on it, have more knowledge on it, care about it more. And I'm just going to let them do it. I'm not going to flood the zone with content that I right now just I'm not into right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's a shitty topic or anything.
I want to watch Expand. I'd rather see better movies first. Well, I mean, that's just like, that's story of our lives. As moviegoers, like it's like
okay. Let's go.
Let's see, 180. Oh yeah, I saw this earlier today too. William, if Sony's going to reboot, then they're going to reboot like the Spider-Man.
I watched that. All right, guys. I wish I had not a shock that could kill you, not a shock that could cause you permanent harm, but one that could alert you when you use this fucking, or not you, Hunter Iggy, but he got that from something else I was watching as well. There was nothing to reboot when it comes to that. There were a bunch of separate movies that weren't connected to anything. What are you rebooting? There was no universe to reboot. I mean, none of those movies.
You could make an argument Venom in isolation, was a universe, and
you're not rebooting that.
But even that, it's like I don't think that's the last scene of Tom Hardy's Venom.
As far as Hunter was with don't. Or why don't they go find a Spider-Man for their own story? I've been saying that for the entirety of this show's existence. And then people were always telling me, well, Kevin Feige would never get the fuck off the planet with that. Sony owns the IP. The deal with Marvel and has been exhibited, and even though nobody knows the actual text of it, you can clearly see that Marvel has creative control with Sony's clearance over the ones that are in their movies that they produce. There is nothing, and they've even said this before, that would stop them from doing their own Spider-Man. What you have is Sony executives that don't have the balls to do so. Even Disney's outright said there's nothing, and Disney can actually say, not Disney, Sony, when they came to them about using Miles Morales in live action, or not Miles Morales, one of the characters that Sony controls, Sony said no. Sony has the final no over all this stuff. So they can either find a new Spider-Man, their own, or they can use one that's much love. Either of two, you can do an old man Spider with Toby, or you can do another one with another old guy, but he doesn't look old, with Andrew Garfield, or you can use Miles Morales, or you can create your own Peter Parker. They don't want to. They don't want to because they think they're going to be in the shadow of the MCU. But I'm like, look at where the MCU's been at the last 4 or 5 years. Could have been done your own thing, especially after No Way Home. You think you wouldn't have been able to print money with a Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? They just didn't want to do it. So they decided to make these half-cocked movies instead of, because if you look at Sony, Not one live action Sony movie, no matter who produced it or wrote it, made anything less than $700 million. So I think it's not a matter of whether they can; it's they got to do it. And I think Lord and Miller need to be the ones that handle anything from them going forward if they're going to do something like this. But hey, not my company. Okay, let me skip past some of the stuff I don't feel like talking about. Look at Frankenstein. GDT actually wrote the script and spoon-fed morality and the story to you. I don't know. Is that response? Did you type something else? Oh, you're talking about yeah, and like I said, I've used it on certain things for the show. I've used it for certain images. One of my images that I've used, like I said, the one that looks like me, like a black Alfred E. Newman, has used AI. I mean, I don't mind using it, and I know it's part of the conversation. That's just I can't make myself excited for something I'm just not into right now. Not yet. The way Lucasfilm and the advancement of digital effects and camera changed the film industry, the AI effect will have. Yeah, and like you said, you know what though? As Lucas made those films, I was never sitting at a bar or a restaurant or we would say, "Wow, that looks great," and then we would. But it was as it came along, it was part of the society that I was living in. Once the internet, once all these things came out, there was a news story immediately. But as we grew along with it, I never really hung around. Like, hey, dude, what's your bit rate, man? I mean, no, it's just not a. Now there are tech shows out there with thousands and thousands of followers who are into that. And at some point, we know when it junctures into directly to what we're talking about, we'll talk about it. We got a strike coming up that's going to be based a lot on that. When the first fully AI movie comes out, we'll talk about that. But right now we're not there, and and I'll wait till we get there till we start talking that much about it. Wasn't it reported that a new animated Venom movie is making? I know that I've heard that there's an animated Venom movie. I have not heard the details beyond that. So I don't want to talk out of my ass on that one. Hold on for a second. All right. No. That Sony. It's the film rights, but that's what we're talking about. Sony owns the film rights. They don't own the TV series rights or anything like that. They own the film rights. But that's what we're talking about, though. As far as anything that happens on a cinematic scale, Sony has the last say. That agreement is them giving Disney permission. Now Marvel owns the IP. Period. You're right. Like they own the comic, they own the overall IP. But for the purposes of the theatrical, that's what we're talking about. If we're talking about other things else, because I don't even think Sony owns the TV show rights or anything like that. It's purely theatrical. But yeah, but we're talking about movies. So when we're talking about what Marvel or what Sony could do with the Spider-Man IP, they can do what they want with it. They just have chosen not to for whatever reason. I think I know the reason, but I think it's a shitty reason. Okay. I don't even, once again, what are you rebooting? You're rebooting you're not really rebooting anything. Not only is that term overused and misused mostly, but there's nothing to reboot. There was a couple scattered movies. If you're going to start a combined Sony universe, then that's not even a reboot. That's just doing that for the first time. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know if they're going to be using the characters that they've used. I don't know if we're going to see them. I don't know what they're doing. I just heard this today. But I would like to see them do Spider-Man, but but they won't, because they like I said, they don't I don't think Sony believes in themselves when it comes to live action Spider-Man anymore, even though, like I said, 700 million. Every live action Spider-Man has made minimum 700 million. Hell, the last cinematic cartoon one made like 660 million. The first one Won an
No,
Academy Award.
I think that did more. Let me look that up. I think that
It might even be, yeah. So I don't know. You just got to hire the right people. They didn't even hire the right people for that. Some of these movies, the Craven and Matt, they hired some people with resumes that are like, "What were you smoking?"
Across the Spider-Verse, that did 690.8.
Yeah, it's almost 700 million.
That came within, it got like that close to like live action Spider-Man numbers. Even had a couple live action Spideys in it. Archive footage, but still.
Okay, but yeah, guys, I'm not an anti-AI. I mean, you see how the show goes, and I'm talking about shit I don't care about at the moment. We will have this conversation because, like I said, we're headed towards it. We're headed towards. Guess what? Once that strike hits, we ain't gonna have much to talk about because that shit's gonna last. Fuck, that could be a year-long strike, and that's gonna push a whole bunch of stuff. That's gonna really hurt the industry at a time when the industry really doesn't need to be hurt. Okay. Yeah, my theme song. My theme song is AI. So I mean, but like I said, I'm just not at the level that you guys are where it's a topic for me. It's just not, I'm not there.
Like the show, the theme song of the show is AI. Again, that's one thing I'm talking about where it has a utility, it has a useful purpose, but it's not, that's not like taking away anybody's job, like as like a lot of the debaters.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's AI, and we don't have William and I, we don't have like Hans Zimmer on call like compose an intro for us. So AI synthesizers, things like that, that's one example of like stuff we'll see in the future more and more with like YouTubers like us. It's like intros, like stuff like that, like things that things that want to add like bells and whistles to their YouTube channel, like that's something that AI, can be useful for.
Yeah, and even as I use these things, it's not a topic for me. You see what I mean? It's just, I mean, right now, Sony Group in Japan, which is the parent company of Sony Pictures, is having an investor meeting. So let's see what they have to say about Sony Pictures and Sony Film Rights. I don't need to be at that meeting, Rational, to tell you that they're never giving up Spider-Man. They're never giving up Spider-Man. So whatever else is discussed at that meeting, the person who stands up and says, you know what, we should sell Spider-Man back to it, they're not even going to get the sentence done before somebody grabs them by the shoulder and sits them down and gives them some water and asks them, are you okay? So I don't think that it's a generator. They're not going to give up that IP. And be honest with you, it's not worth it for the game in town that could buy it would be Disney, and they don't need to. With the deal that Disney has in place right now, they don't need to do anything more. They don't really need to own the movie IP. They have everything that they need with this current deal. Both sides have everything they need with this current deal. It's just one side is maximizing the IP, and the other one is just doing Madam Web.
Yeah, Aaron, I remember reading something about this because this is my team downtown. By the way, Aaron, real quick, you're gonna find this really. Actually, you might even like this too, William. Just a little bit interesting trivia. Remember about it's almost been like 2 years now. We did a watch party a while back for the new Roadhouse on this channel. The watch party of the new Roadhouse, Jake Gyllenhaal, and of course they're in production on Roadhouse 2 right now. That is actually partially filming in Savannah, so you're gonna see some of my my neck of the woods in the next Roadhouse. So that's
we're gonna see you.
Probably not. That's downtown. They're filming downtown, so yeah. I haven't seen usually whenever they film anything in Savannah, usually it's downtown. So yeah. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna be like on camera or anything, but yeah, you'll see a little bit of my town and Roadhouse with dude from the Raid, Hawkman, and a bunch of UFC fighters. So looking forward to that.
Sony should just center on expanding the animated Spider-Verse and not. It's like, why? That's bullshit. Why would they do that? They own that. They own the IP. Is for theatrically. They own the IP. Why would they do that? No, that's silly. Especially you just need to hire better. Or not hire. Use the people that you have under your umbrella to make the live action one. I don't know. Under no circumstances should Sony ever give up doing a live Spider-Man film. There's a market out there for it. I mean, No Way Home showed you there's a market. I think it's kind of sad because you left a lot of money on the table after No Way Home. So you feel betrayed? Oh no, you thought I wrote that? No, that was that dude Vince did that for me. That was Vince. Henry William, I saw everything DCU on Twitter that WBD is going to review the Paramount deal, but the board's still in favor of sticking. Yeah, that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the stream, and that's I am not a fly on the wall, but if like I said, I'm not a betting man, even though I'm in Vegas. I'm not a fly on that wall, but if I had to bet any amount of my money, I still think Netflix gets it. The only caveat is how bad does Netflix want it? That's your thing. It's a matter of how much do they want to go up. So that's where we're at right now, and we got about 3 or 4 days to figure that out. Hold on for a second. I'll be right back. I got to fix something.
Yeah. All right. So you guys got me laying down for a second here on the couch. So I think I was the most photogenic. So you guys just hear me right now. What else you guys got? Oh yes, yeah. Oh man, cannot wait. I am so ready. Bring that bad boy on. That trailer, I think that last trailer was like, I'm so sold. So yes, Mortal Kombat 2. Looking forward to it. Look forward to that trailer. Yeah, I saw this. I saw this earlier, Aaron. Yeah, yeah, it's really my really tragic. My heart just goes out to Martin Short. I mean, we've got a filmmaker on here that had that were very near and dear to our hearts, and we went through a similar tragedy. So yeah, I don't wish this on anybody. So rest in peace to his daughter, and again, thoughts and prayers with Martin Short and his family. Did you see this, William? Martin Short.
Yeah, I will bring that. I was going to bring both of those up. That along with Carradine as well. I just didn't have. I didn't. I was almost.
Robert Carradine. Yeah, I saw that.
Robert Carradine. So is there some commonality there? So.
Lewis of Revenge of the Nerds.
No, it's like, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was successful, period. You make $700 million, that's a success. The problem with anything, and DC was going in against the same problem, is you had fucking buffoons who judged every comic book movie success based on what was going on somewhere else. $700 million was a success. And if it hadn't been for them wanting to jump into the Disney jacuzzi so quickly, they would have probably made an Amazing Spider-Man 3 and made $600 to $700 million there. So we have to understand in the mid-2000 teens that you had a lot of fuckery going around with what was successful and what was not, and who could comprehend it. A lot of the executives who couldn't, look at how many of them have their jobs now. So,
is Amy Pascal still with Sony though?
She's not, but I think her contract still puts her in the production field as far as Spider-Man goes.
Kind of there, but kind of not. I mean, because like a lot of that kind of chicanery. It was the word I'm looking for. Is like she was kind of the center of a lot of that.
All right. Yeah, we'll deal with those two on Thursday night's show. Obviously, there's a reason why I'm going to do it that way, simply because there's an issue tied to both of them.
Mark Short's daughter.
We've discussed her at hours long length, and it does. I don't want to do that topic any injustice by just slapping it on a small RIP screen and talking about them for a couple minutes. All right, who's trolling who in the chat? I don't know. William, what don't DVD sell news stations to Paramount after they owned by Netflix because Paramount? Well, that's what's going to end up happening. You're talking about why doesn't Paramount wants the linear networks now. They just want to have everything else too. The problem is like I said, they don't value the linear networks high enough to where if I'm a stockholder, I don't want to leave any money on the table. I'm not available tomorrow night to do a Cloverfield watch party. Yeah, she's the producer because I think her contract was worked that way. But I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think she's currently a line employee of Sony. I think it's just the Spider-Man movies. I'm pretty sure that image says Open Topic Tuesday. I'm almost certain. Yeah, it's Open Topic Tuesday. There you go. It's not Open Panel Tuesday. All right, we've gotten through all the chats. Got a few minutes left. I don't feel like putting up any trailers on here. I'm having a hard time with YouTube and StreamYard as it is. I don't need to add to it. Let's see. Anybody got anything else question-wise?
I brought up that we're getting a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer tomorrow.
Okay.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah. The trailers.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed that we're going to be seeing it on March 10th?
Yeah. I will not be getting up early for a Mortal Kombat trailer, so it'll be somebody else cover that. I've heard that too, so enough. I'm just waiting. I mean, this would be right around the time that they will generally do it, but if they're going to do it,
I'm kind of curious, like, how much overlap do you think, like, the marketing or like the symbiosis between like Brand New Day and Doomsday is? I mean, because they're like, how much is like Brand New Day going to lead into Doomsday? Like, not just like story wise, also like maybe in terms of the marketing. Because Marvel's, I mean, they've had a lot of like movies where it's like you have like the kind of the one that tease up at the something at the the beginning of the year, and then you have like the big event that follows that, and this feels like that would fit right into that.
It all depends. I mean, because they don't really have to do that anymore. I mean, they did that before in the earlier phases, but that doesn't necessarily mean I don't know if they need to do that now because both of those names are established brand names already. So it's not like I need to put out a bellwether that Avengers, Doomsday is coming out. I don't need to really sacrifice anything with it when it comes to advertising. If I don't want to do a post-credit scene for Endgame, I don't have, or not Endgame, I'm sorry. Doomsday, I don't have to, but I don't think it's going to mean less people are going to come to it. So yeah, it's a matter of.
Is Tom Holland in Doomsday, or is he they're saving him for Secret Wars?
I thought so, but I don't know what in capacity though.
It said,
like I said, I don't think there's any guarantee unless they've said it somewhere and I missed it that there's a direct lead in yet, because you also have Secret Wars coming afterwards, and we got
Wikipedia for it up. It says also expected. Let's give it expected to return, so not confirmed, but expected to return. Our Benedict Cumberbatch is Dr. Stephen Strange. Haley Atwell is Peggy Carter. Jeremy Renner is Clint Hart.
She's definitely going to be in it. I think there's no way she's not in it.
And Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. There are conflicting reports about whether Ryan Reynolds or Perez roles Wade Wilson / Deadpool in the film. So those are, I guess, like a little bit. It's like they're up in the air, but I mean, it's like it's definitely not off the table. They're going to be in it.
Yeah, I definitely expect to see Peggy Carter because of who else is in the movie. Doctor Strange is literally
his Captain America, like his trailer. I mean, that's like she's not in his trailer, but I mean that tells you it's like how you're not going to have a scene with her. And you go back in the 40s.
There's all kinds of leaked rumors coming out about that. But yeah, I mean, they could do a build up to, but I think they're trying to make Spider-Man a Spider-Man movie. We've already laid that groundwork for where he is in the MCU, and they've already laid the groundwork for where the Avengers are in the MCU. I don't think they're going to have any problem making tons of money with this movie, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me, Azteca. I'll be sure not to see the movie when it comes out because I'm not going to.
I feel the same way about that equally. Like I said, I'm not going to wake up for either one of those trailers.
There is no way you can tell me with a straight face that you expect Mortal Kombat 2 to be of lesser quality.
No, I don't expect. I'm not going to see either one of them. So that's where they're at for me. Question, William. I saw another YouTuber channel that Paramount is $31. Yeah, that's their offer. Their offer is $31 a share. That is correct.
Any thoughts on Hulk's involvement in Brand New Day? And do you think they're he wasn't in Brand New Day. The Red Hulk was, but that was one of
no, Brand New Day is the Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you
were. I don't know.
Brave New World. Sorry.
I don't know what version of the Hulk we're getting. I don't know if we're getting Wild Hulk. I don't know if we're getting Professor Hulk. All the above.
I've had enough of Smart Hulk. I want Savage Hulk again.
I mean, it could be Grey Hulk where he's an asshole. I don't know anything about the script so far to be able to tell you what it is. I hope, and I feel this way about any time that I have a title character in a movie. There's only one other time where I was okay with clutter. One other time, and that was Captain America: Civil War, because I kind of treated that just as even though it was his movie, it had all the Avengers. But I when I go to see Spider-Man, I really have been waiting years and years and years to see a Spider-Man movie. If Hulk is in there, I hope it's not for a long time. Same thing with Punisher. I mean, I want to. And I'm really hoping for a story based on Spider-Man being the central character, and if they have these other people in there, it's not to a degree to where it's like, okay, well, they didn't think you can carry this movie. I mean, so. Question, William. How much do you think Netflix will offer? I hope they pass Paramount to. They're not going to do $6. That would be insane. I do think because it would only take another $1 or $2 to put it out of range, because it took forever for Paramount to go from 30. It took almost a month and a half for Paramount to go from $30 to $31. So if Netflix were to say hypothetically come out and say $33, now that may not sound like a lot of money to you, but when you multiply it by how many shares, the hundreds of millions of shares that are outstanding, that's a lot of money. That's a considerable amount of money. If you were to top their bid with $2 to spare, then I think that would close the door. I think $1 would close the door. And be honest with you right now, depending on what the board is saying, they may not need to make another bid. If this offer hasn't swayed, the heavy hitters, who knows? But I don't think it'll take that much. Let's see. William, apparently Disney got the Hulk rights back when they got the rest of Hulk Comcast. I don't think that's the case, but it really doesn't matter because what are they going to do with the character? They're not going to make another single Hulk movie. They already had the rights to use him in an ensemble cast. I mean, they really kind of ran the character into the ground as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, thank you. By the way, Rational, that reminds me. Thank you for mentioning that because I wanted to run this.
Well, let me finish it. How come we haven't gotten a full Hulk movies? And at first, I don't know what this current status is with Universal and that. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Two, I just don't think there's anything to do with the character outside of Avengers right now. That's my opinion. What were you saying? You were about to say something?
Oh, yeah. Was I mute there?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, sorry. All right. Yeah, let me see if I can find this here because I meant to bring this up the other night, but okay, here it is. But this, if you're a Predator fan, and specifically like a fan what Dan Trachtenberg has done with Predator, this is probably brought a smile on your face as much as did mine. Predator Badlands bows to 9 million views globally on Hulu, but that's not the Let me see if I can get to the because that's not the kicker on that. You pull up the inside of the article. Okay, here. Yeah. Oh, damn it! Where does it say here? Oh, somebody gave the cliff notes on this, and they basically Predator Badlands. It was recently added to Hulu, and it did really well. Like it said, 9 million. But the kicker was that figure, that's the biggest, apparently the biggest like debut, like a new movie added to Hulu. It's the biggest debut since Prey, like since Dan Trachtenberg's last live action Predator. This is the biggest like new release movie on Hulu since Prey. So he's at. So you talk about like he said.
Well, Prey was released directly
like,
to Hulu, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying like in terms of like something that's just dropped on Hulu. It's the best performing movie on Hulu since his last live action Predator movie. So I would say he's probably got a lot of leverage if he wants for anything he wants to do with Predator now. I was kind of curious.
According to Azteca, I don't agree with that, but
now, I was wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
The comparison is kind of hard for me to grasp because one of them directly premiered on Hulu and the other one was in theaters before. Good numbers, I guess. Good numbers. I don't know what the metrics are when it comes to Hulu, but that sounds good. That sounds like they're happy with it, and that just shows you the power of where that demand goes. When there's going to be plenty of people who couldn't make it out to the movies to see Predator's Badlands, but they saw it.
I've loved every single thing he's done with Predator, since he started, like Prey, Killers. I want to see where like that end credits scene in Killers goes.
Well,
and then of course they withheld part of it, when they initially put it out.
Yeah, because I saw it at Comic-Con.
Yeah, they saw the Frozen, Arnold and Danny Glover, and so the reasoning was they didn't have like the contract like fully pinned down with both of them. It's like, yeah, they were. It's like you don't put those two back into Predator if you don't have an idea of what you want to do with them. You're gonna like put them on ice. Like, oh, but we're gonna take them off ice.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for me. I am spiritually spent. About an hour and 20 minutes or so. So we will not be on the air tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I have some other things I might be having to take care of. We'll cover some things on Thursday, some unfortunate things on Thursday, obviously when it comes to RIPs and things, and we'll have a backup topic. That will not be the topic because I don't want to drag the show completely down. We'll recognize certain issues, but then we'll move on to our other topics. As such as life, and please like, subscribe, hit the alert bell. Comment if you got something to say, and that's about it. Pretty mundane Tuesday. So that's what No Topic Tuesday has the potential of being. So, all right, guys. I will see you on Thursday night for better or for worse. Bye.
See you guys.